this working? Right, good. Okay, so obviously I'm here today to talk about mortgages and you're getting started in buy-to-lets. So a little bit about me. I've been doing mortgages for 20 years now. Started literally 20 years ago in 2002 as a mortgage broker. I moved over to being a business development consultant, which basically I talked to the mortgage brokers about specialist mortgages, and I've recruited mortgage brokers for a network, quite a big network I used to work for. I've done it for a few years, left, set up my own direct company, but unfortunately the financial crash happened, closed the office in London, where 5 people were redundant, including myself. Hardest thing I probably ever had to do. I rented out my house in London, and basically I couldn't afford the mortgage really, and moved to Norwich. So you lucky people get to meet me. But for a couple of years, the property prices were going down, it was hard. So I actually moved to Norwich because my stepdad and my brother was doing up some property. So I got into doing renovations, but the reality is if property prices are going down, you're not really adding value. So it was just a tough couple of years. Luckily, I left with a couple of quid in the bank. Now I got back into mortgages, probably worst time, just after the crash. And it was largely because of my ex-colleagues, brokers, that keep asking me for mortgages. So I went back to be a business development manager. I started consulting with the brokers again. There wasn't only enough money because it's still a real poor market, so I got qualified. So even though I've been in mortgages for 20 years, I only got qualified in 2010. So 8 years ago, I set up VincentBurch Limited because we've doing quite well. And last year, the company submitted £268 million worth of just buy-to-let business. So it's not including residential development, anything else, which is quite sizable. And this year we moved into an office that's twice the size of the office that we recently had in Norfolk Tower. We've got the whole 8th floor of Norfolk Tower. We've currently got 11 advisors and we have 26 full-time staff. So we have a lot of support admin people to support our advisors. We typically do a lot more mortgage business than most brokers because we have support staff. Okay, so that's us. Now, when you choose a mortgage broker, you might want to walk into someone's office. And obviously we have offices based in Norwich. Most of my clients, as you can probably hear from my accent, we're all around the country, but obviously there's a lot in London. And we do focus on London, so we spend a lot of money on marketing in the London area because the property prices are more and the commission's more, quite frankly. We have a lot of expat clients and foreign nationals as well that invest in the UK, so we're not just nationwide, we are worldwide. Very difficult though, them sort of clients. Now, there's 3 things, although my marketing guy put a 4th one on there, so I do apologise. But there's 3 things that you need to consider when you're looking at a mortgage broker. First of all, who does that broker work for? Are they working for you, or are they working for the bank or the insurance company? Quite often, that's a sneaky way that an advisor is actually selling an insurance product and you think they're independent. No lender panels. We don't have any panels. Amount of times I hear a estate agent broker say, oh, but we can go off panel. Then why do you have a panel? I won't harp on about it, but just see their access to lenders, okay? So make sure they're working for you, make sure they've got access to a variety of lenders and how much they charge. Now, we typically don't charge a fee. We do have a fee agreement, which we'll talk about later, but we try not to charge a fee. And certainly on the average mortgage value, we certainly don't charge a fee. And this is what my marketing guy put in there, so apologies. Mortgage people for mortgage people, for property people. So it's a new slogan that he's ramming down my throat that I'm still yet to get. This is a rebrand, there we go. Okay, right, so buy-to-let mortgage market. Valuations, there's no real major problems with valuations on properties. You always get the odd down valuation, which is always happens in the market. There's no problems at the minute. Solicitors, I have noticed some solicitor firms just not really recovered from COVID. Now, there's a lot of business on at the moment, so check with the solicitors. We've obviously got Pat and Collins here. Check how busy they are, because that will prevent your mortgage from completing as well. Now, Rightmove, looking at Rightmove's house price index for last month. Now, nationally, it was up 1.7% in just 1 month. So that's 10.4% annually on house price index. Now, Rightmove's obviously bigger than nationwide. It's the broadest one there is. Okay, bringing that more relevant to the east of England. Last month, property prices increased 1.1% monthly, and that's 10% annually, according to Rightmove House Price Index. Mortgage lenders, interest rates are going up. It's a horrible place to be at the moment, a mortgage broker, because the clients just want to get the rates in, and the lenders are putting the rates as fast as they can. So it is very testing, and the lenders are slow as well at the moment. Specialist lenders, they're not increasing so much on the rates because they've got a bit more margin, but they're increasing loan to values and want to lend more money because they're not being competitive on the price. So it's good to know. As I say, service issues with lenders is an issue. Lending criteria is pre-COVID, so yeah, all right, everything's back to normal as the way it always has been, but there are some service delays. Anyone that's doing a remortgage in 6 months' time, or if they've got a remortgage coming up, they're doing it now before the rates are going up, so it's just why there's so much remortgage business in. Some trends I just want to share with you. So I've got a few landlords, which surprised to me, that wanted to pay some early payment charges because in 6 months' time when their rate ends, they think interest rates are going to be higher. And I thought they were nuts to do it. I've got some experienced estate agents who first come to me to do it. And do you know what? It was a good bet on their part because the rates have gone up and I've secured them cheaper rates early in the year. So don't just wait until the end of your ERC if you see the interest rates are going to go up in the next 6 to 9 months. I mean, if you've got 3 or 4 years, you put it all up. Okay, very, very busy with holiday lets, EPCs. There's one in 4 properties don't qualify for a mortgage effectively in 1 in 4 in year 2025. So basically, you've got a few years to get the property up to a mortgageable status. And this is where we get the green mortgages. So if you've got an energy efficient property, AC rating, there are some cheaper rates out there called green mortgages. Right, so who qualifies for a mortgage? Maximum age, minimum age, bad credit. The truth is, we can get someone a mortgage that's 100 years of age, and we can get someone that's 2 years of age on a mortgage. There's a lender for everyone typically. Bad credit, older the bad credit is, the easier it is. You just pay a little bit more in interest ultimately. So they've got no credit, no income, a newly formed limited company, no experience. Yeah, we've got lenders that can do that. If you've got you want to do HMO or commercial, you might need a little bit more experience. So a single buy-to-let, etc. There's lenders out there. So residential, if you're doing a residential let, no problem. Student lets, HMOs, get a little bit more complicated. You want some experience. You could potentially rent the property to a charity, a housing association. I mentioned holiday lets earlier. That's quite buoyant at the moment. Service accommodation, which is basically a holiday let HMO. It's basically like B&B without breakfast. Commercial. People who've got a good pension fund, they could buy a commercial via their pension. Semi-commercials. Since the high street has had its problem with COVID, there's a lot of commercial being converted to residential use. So don't ignore them. What property? I mean, it's probably touching on Chris's, but buy the right property, right location. Whether you want a house, a flat, obviously there's costs with flats. Ground rent service charges. How many floors in the block? Some lenders only lend up 6 floors. Got to be careful. If you buy a big house, is there demand, a rental demand for that? So you've got to be careful. And if you're buying a high street, great, close to amenities, but if it's next to a takeaway, you might have a problem. And the same way, if it's a residential flat above a commercial, some lenders won't lend on that. So, buy-to-let mortgage, your fixed rate variable, you want to look at the initial terms, so 2-year fixed rate or 5-year fixed rate. And then really here, you want to have a look at repayment of interest only. And you've got to ask yourself, are you buying a property as a business or an asset? And I'm sure Sam will come on to this. But why are you buying a buy-to-let property? If you're buying it, what most people do is to earn a monthly income from the rental, then typically you want an interest-only mortgage. If you're looking to buy the property as an asset and give it to your kids, then you might consider a capital repayment mortgage. It's really what your purpose of buying the property is. Okay, so also consider your exit. The amount of times I've seen people die, it's sad, but it happens, and then the kids inherit a big bill. So just think about the exit. So many people don't think about the exit. Problems. It's a business, you're going to have problems. Can't afford the mortgage. Chris touched on it. Have 6 months mortgage payments in the bank account. Have money for a boiler in case that goes wrong. Okay, you're going to get void periods if you're a landlord. You're going to get damage to the property. You're going to get wear and tear. I've evicted tenants before, and obviously it's where Clapham College can assist. But it's part of running this type of business. Subletting a property, it seems a bit of a fad lately. It's very difficult because there's more legalities to try and get your property back. I've experienced that myself as well. All right, so estate planning, short leaseholds, touched on that. If you're buying a really cheap flat, chances are it's not got many years left on the lease, you might have to extend it for mortgage purposes. Again, there's legal work there. So, buy-to-let purchase, the mortgage process. So you found the property you're looking to buy, whether it's a house, flat, decided on the strategy, who you're going to rent it to, decided on how you're going to purchase it, own name limited company, and decided on the type of mortgage, where it's fixed, and the loan to value. Now, the application, the lender's going to assess you and do a decision in principle, and then they're going to check the documentation that we've told the lender that you have, like your income, etc. Okay, so we get decision in principle, keeps the estate agent happy. But then we upload the application, give all the documents over. The second part of the application is for the lender to then send out the surveyor to check the property. So they're looking at you and they're looking at the property. And that's the two main parts of a mortgage. Mortgage offer. When you get your mortgage offer, congratulations, it's been offered, check it's offered correctly. When your solicitor typically won't know what rate it's gone on. Right? It might know some other, they might look at the other bits that they can control and check, but there's some things that they just won't know, so check it yourself. Term of the offer, most offers last for 6 months. There will be conditions with the offer to draw down funds. You might have to do local authority searches, there could be delays there, HMO licence, building insurance, and if there's any lending restrictions. So last couple of slides, buy-to-let rates, a single let buy-to-let at the moment, done this this morning, it's 1.49, the best deal. I'm going to have to finish up quickly. So the best deal for a limited company at the moment is 1.99 to your fixed rate, and HMO, small HMO, you're looking at 2.67 and a 2.88. Bridge finance won't cover off today. A bit of hands back, Chris. I don't want to run over for everyone. Okay. Got loads of slides. I was doing a half hour.
Go on, keep going.
Okay, right. So look, funding the buy-to-let. Probably the last important slide. So as we mentioned, 75% loan to value is the typical mortgage that we do, okay? You can do 85% loan to value or 80%. Chances are you need the rental income to make it work. If you want the cheaper interest rates, yes, you can put down a bigger deposit, but it restricts the properties you can buy. So most people do 75% loan to value. If you get £1,000 rental income, and this is how the lender will work out the affordability on the mortgage lending based on the rental income. If you get £1,000 rental income, as a lower rate taxpayer, potentially you can get £240,000. If you're a higher rate tax bracket payer, that £1,000 rental income then goes down to £214,000. So it depends what tax bracket. If you buy via a limited company, potentially you can go back to £240,000. So while there's tax implications of buying it own a limited company, you could potentially also get more money on a mortgage. Deposit funds. So we've got 75% for the mortgage lender, 25% from somewhere else. Now, typically savings, investments, company profits, move the money from a company profit into another company and buy the property. So tax advantages to do that. You've got inheritance potentially coming in, friends and family. Equity. Most of my clients generally do an equity, they do a remortgage. Now, regardless how old you are, typically, as long as you've got income, lenders will lend you 4.5 times. So if you've got £50,000 income, you might be 70 years of age, but if you've got, I'll touch on them in a minute, but potentially if you've got £50,000, 4.5 times, you're good to get £250,000 out of your main residence and put that down as a deposit on a new buy-to-let purchase. Most high street lenders do go to the age of 70 years of age, or retirement age, 67, 68 years of age. But if you've got older, if you want to lend past that, and again you can lend to 100 years of age, for example, a couple of bill sizes would do that. As long as you've got self-employed income, and the lenders just want evidence that you can afford the income in retirement. So if you've got self-employed income, private pension, trust funds, rental income, then the lenders will go beyond the estate age retirement. So you could get a mortgage from your bank, you're not getting any advice, and that employee works for their bank. Online research, money supermarket, just because you've got the best rate doesn't mean you're actually going to get that mortgage. A mortgage broker, me or anyone else, you get some advice, double check what the fees are, what lenders they've got access to, and make sure that broker's right for you. We're really good at buy-to-lets and pretty much everything else. Not all brokers are as good and as good at buy-to-lets as we are, so just make sure they're right for you. These are typical no's. I get people phoning up and say, I can't get a mortgage, I'm too old, don't earn enough income, or wrong kind of income, lender won't accept it. got no experience, complex company structure, more than 2 people on application, property's near commercial, property has no demand. Chris touched on buy the property with some demand. It's a bit like HMO, student land. Might have too many properties. I've got a decline yesterday because the lender said the client's got too many properties. It's frustrating because I told them in the first place, but there you go. Okay, so this is us. Thank you very much for your time today.